Welcome to episode 26 of the Pickleball Effect podcast. I'm Braydon.
And I'm Porter.
I always have a lot of notes of things we're going to talk about, but I never really know what we're going to talk about. So we're just going to talk. I'm not going to tell them what we're going to talk about.
Oh, okay. All right. I won't have my notes app open either then.
You don't even look at the notes, I don't think.
I do. I was there earlier. I saw you made some edits, some changes.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. You made some changes around like 1:30. And it's not even 1:30 yet.
Well, but yeah, you can check in the show notes to see what we end up talking about here. But yeah, just a quick update. So around my Amazon products. So I got the Tungsten Tape. I gave that to you a while ago. Did you ever try it?
I did. I liked it.
It's pretty sweet,
Yeah, it's great.
The stuff's really cool. So it's been live for almost 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
I started with 900 on Amazon, and I'm under 100 now.
Yeah.
It's been selling well. I can't believe how well it's been doing. I'm really happy about it. But new shipment coming in or is here, so I'm reloading Amazon.
Nice.
I just got my first wholesale order for the stuff.
Oh, sweet.
As well as my overgrips and edge guard tape. My brother helps me with the Amazon stuff.
Okay.
And he's gonna start pushing the wholesale side of things, especially for the Tungsten Tape.
Yeah.
That stuff is really cool. I also learned recently that you can tear.
You can tear it. Uh-huh.
And I didn't know that. How did you know I was going to say that?
Well, my mom told me.
Did
yeah,
she?
I didn't know you could tear it either. And she's like, yeah, apparently you can just tear it. And you don't have to use scissors or anything.
Yeah, it's super nice. It's almost worth buying it just so you can tear it. You don't have to have scissors with you.
I know. I'm like, with other lead tape, I don't want to touch it or anything. So it's...
It's pretty cool little thing, but yeah, so happy with how well that's doing. Really pumped about kind of next steps for that. But yeah, dude, I've sold over 800 of them.
That's crazy.
It's crazy to me.
That's
so crazy.
Awesome. I mean, it's good. It's a well-made product, so that's good that it's doing well.
It's legit, but it's super thankful for everyone's support there. It's doing really cool. But yeah, pumped about that. And then this week, Sear, you said you were doing school.
Always. So
shift work
school.
here. You're not teaching right now.
Nope.
You're taking a break from that.
Yeah, I'm still I'm a full-time student, so I'm just mainly focused on that. Once I'm graduated, then I'll go back to teaching and all of that stuff. But right now, I just want to get done.
You probably had a few students that were bummed that you took a break.
Yeah, I had a few, for sure. But I've kept up with a lot of them. I've taught a few lessons here and there, but for the most part, everyone's super understanding. They're like, I get it.
Do you have any regulars that just there's no hope for them, but they keep coming back?
Not naming names or anything for sure, but
no.
I mean, there's always going to be people who just, there's in teaching, people just a lot of times come to socialize. It's their only interaction a lot of times, which is it's nice. I've got to be fun. I've got to be happy. I've got to be genuine. But there's definitely people who are like, yeah, you've worked on this for like 5 weeks in a row. It's not really getting better. So yeah, I mean, for the most part, everyone is very good at taking the coaching and using it, but
I'm sure it's the other way around where there's some people that are just excelled.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm
going to sign up for a Porter lesson.
Oh boy.
And I'm going to report back.
That could be a video right there. Yeah, I take a lesson from Porter Bar.
That'll probably be my most viewed video.
I don't know about that. Let's
You've got some instructional stuff on Selkirk's channel.
Yeah, I mean,
you're a big deal.
I like to teach, and I guess people like
to take lessons,
which is really cool. I never expected it, but
awesome.
I mean, I enjoy it. So,
and then last week I was hanging out in Washington. I felt kind of sick, kind of have a head cold. My voice is still recovering, which is kind of annoying. But so I was in Washington hanging. My wife's from the Spokane area, and Selkirk is in I think. Headquarters is Hayden, Idaho, which is 45 minutes from Spokane. I know you've been to their offices and stuff. But I was talking to Mike Barnes. I was just emailing them, and we were going to set it up where I was going to go tour their facility. I know they have a court at their buildings, but it didn't end up working out, unfortunately. But I did play some pickleball while I was in Hayden. So they have one indoor court facility there called Peak. They got 4 courts. It's actually a really nice building. They have some
Yeah.
tennis courts and like some weights, and
Oh, that's nice.
it's a nice place. I think Tyson McGuffin has done some like videos there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you been to Tyson's house? Is he close?
I haven't been to Tyson's house, no, but
I think he lives somewhere up there.
I'm not sure if he has moved or anything, but I know for sure for a long time he was right next to Selkirk, like just
super close.
Yeah.
But I think I've seen him do some videos at this place I played, and so the 3 people I played with, I wasn't planning on playing and going down there. It was just a short trip.
Yeah.
But my mother-in-law ended up setting me up with a high school friend that she had chatted with the week previous.
That's cool.
At a funeral of all places. So they had like reunited at this funeral, started talking pickleball.
Her high school friend or your high school friend?
Her high school friend, my mother-in-law's. And she, turns out her friend's like way into pickleball. She
cool.
lives in Hayden, plays all the time. So I ended up meeting her, playing with her husband and their friend. So it was Mike, Carla, and Ann.
Oh,
like the ultimate pickleball names.
Right. This is perfect.
And so they were fantastic. Of course, they all had Selkirks.
It's like the
I had
them
try some different ones.
Oh, nice.
just for fun. I was the only person in the building that didn't have a Selkirk.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
to be expected.
That's all
to be
they
expected.
have up there for sure.
Even in Spokane, like everyone has Selkirks there.
I mean,
and Selkirk has great paddles, but they don't fit everyone. And so I had Ann try out the double black diamond from 6-0. She really liked it. She was she wanted to get one, but her husband wouldn't let her.
Okay.
And then Carla
gotta stay Selkirk.
Carla was great, dude. She and I are playing. I mean, these guys are probably, I think they're in their 50s.
Yeah.
And they're like 4-0s. They're good players. It was fun. They knew what they were doing. But Carla, remember how we talked about how people don't, like, there's not people intentionally body bagging and trying to hit you. They are.
Yeah. Oh,
and
that's cool.
They go by the name of Carla.
Nice. That's good.
We're like in the middle of this game.
I'm a fan of Carla now.
She rips one at Mike, and she turns to me. She's like, "Shoot, I missed him." I was like, "Were you trying to hit him?" She's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's part of the game.
It's in my repertoire.
That's awesome.
So there are people
great
that are trying to hit you, and
I'm glad to hear
Carla
that.
and I bonded quick.
Yeah. Did she end up getting any good ones?
She did get a couple hits.
Nice.
She was keeping tabs. We had our own personal game going.
Okay.
Tags were worth 2. I never got any. She was a lot better at it than I was.
Well, that's the next thing you got to work on.
Carla with the body bags. This was the another thing that was funny about there. So they only have 4 indoor courts in like all of this area, and they are in high demand.
Yes.
So the earliest they can reserve is 3 days in advance, and you can reserve like directly whatever that hour is, like 3 days before.
Yeah.
And it's like on the hour for that time slot. And they like, while we're playing pickleball, they said, pause, everyone get on their phones. We got to try and reserve courts.
Okay.
Because it's like so intense and hard to get a court. And so they have their phones out. They have like a timer. Like, it looks like they're getting like Taylor Swift tickets or something.
That's funny.
It was hilarious.
It's like the people in Vegas at the slot machines who are just going over
literally,
and over
like
again.
they were just like pounding
That's
it.
hilarious.
And so there's 3 of them. All of them had their phones out trying to reserve a court. And they didn't get it.
Oh no!
They got beat. I couldn't believe it. And I felt bad for the people in this area. Like, that's how you have to get courts.
Crazy.
I'd never seen that before, and I thought that was funny.
That's wild. I mean, yeah. I mean, it is. I was just talking to someone about this. The popularity of pickleball is unbelievable.
Dude, it is
I
nuts.
never I started playing at the YMCA 7 years ago, and I never would have expected this.
Yeah, in this area alone,
It's
like,
crazy.
How many people do you think were playing in your YMCA days? It was probably just your YMCA people.
Yeah, it was a very specific amount of people who just came like every single day over and over again because, pickleball is addicting like that. But then now it's just, I'm seeing new faces literally everywhere.
The 101 classes here, so they have like a class they do every week for new people who come to this facility.
Yep.
There's a handful of people every week that have never played that are signing up for 101. Billy does those classes.
Billy does them.
And I don't know where they're finding.
Like, where
are these people coming
people
from?
Off the street, man. I have no idea.
Like, they just go sign up online.
Yeah, it's it's wild. I mean, I'm like, I genuinely, I have people on YouTube who I watch who are not pickleball related at all, and I hear them talk about
just comes
pickleball,
up.
and it's like, whoa, why are you saying that name? Because I'm not used to it, and the fact that it is the, I think, most actively played sport in the U.S. It's mind-boggling.
Dude, it is so crazy. The demand for courts is insane. They in this area, I know. So like, there's Hobble Creek. How many courts are at Hobble?
12 or
12. So
14.
that's probably the biggest outdoor facility. That was only built like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And when that was built, it was easy. You could show up anytime and get courts. But now, if you show up on like a Saturday morning, any evening,
packed.
or actually really any morning,
Yeah.
you have to go in the middle of the day.
It's that's there. That is the only time you can get a court is like at 1 to 3 p.m.
It's
and
crazy.
even then, sometimes it's still busy.
They built some more courts towards the end of last summer. I haven't hit them yet.
I haven't either.
But I don't know how busy those ones are. But I think Hobble's kind of the hottest
for
place.
sure.
So there's 6 courts out by my house.
Is that Midway?
Midway,
right?
yeah. It's like less than a mile from my house. I don't play there very often, just because most of the competition is in the Boise. I mean, they're playing at Hobble or here now. But no, those can get busy sometimes, but it's hit and miss. It's not like it is in Boise.
Yeah.
They still haven't filled up. Like, they get used for sure, but it's not like it is down here.
Yeah. No, I mean, we've got the courts behind the village. We have Hobble Creek. We've got Settlers.
Settlers is always a madhouse. There's only like 3 courts there.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so many popping up.
Yeah, it's great. I imagine this summer
it's really cool.
There'll be some relief from Hobble. Like,
for
people will
sure.
spill out in other places. But yeah, dude, it is crazy how much it has grown. Even looking at like the viewership on my website over the last few years, most of my hits come from Google, just people searching for paddles.
Yeah.
And I rank pretty well on Google, and it's just fun seeing the traffic grow. Not so much because I'm like posting more. It's just the number of people searching for paddle information has just significantly grown. Like, it is insane.
Like, I don't know if you watched it all, but like the thing on ESPN last night, the Slam.
No, I read about it this morning. Did you watch it?
I didn't get a chance to. I was exhausted. My mom was watching it in the other room, but I just needed to go to bed. But like, I saw a few clips of it, and the crowd it's completely full in Vegas. And I mean,
they had big names though. They had Andre Agassi.
I think that
Steph Graf.
They had Jack Sock.
McEnroe was there.
McEnroe is always fun to watch, dude. I've
never seen any of his tennis stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, I watched some of his highlights just because I knew he was doing the Slam, and he was an entertainer for sure.
There's a documentary about him. He's a character, dude. I mean, for pickleball, even like, he's still John McEnroe. That's a rabbit hole you can dive deep into.
He's always been like vocally against pickleball.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden last year he's like, I'm playing in this charity event.
And he gets so intense too.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Hilarious.
And then Agassi, he seems to be a big proponent of it now. So we were talking about this earlier, how he recently invested in DUPR.
Yes.
I think he invests in a paddle company. Komodo or something. I haven't looked into it, but I know that he's involved with some paddle company. But yeah, like these 2 big investments. Most recently, the DUPR one was a big deal because DUPR raised, I don't know how much money. It was a lot of money, and he was involved. And so this was like a week ago. But it's fun to see big tennis names like that, because there's still a divide between tennis and pickleball. I'm not like crazy into the tennis world. Are you?
I try to follow it. It's funny. I think I actually watch more like tennis highlights than pickleball.
Oh, do you?
I definitely will see more full pickleball matches unless there's just like a tennis match randomly playing. But like, I think both sports just have so much to offer, and the divide really sucks a lot of the time, because there's still pickleball players who are pickleball snobs. There's still tennis players who are tennis snobs, and
Yeah.
they don't want to mix it all.
I always heard that was a thing, but I'm just not in tennis forums. I just don't see a lot of that. But I was doing this. I was in a conversation, like this interview thing, with this gal who's a writer for a tennis magazine, and she is very involved in the tennis world. Has been writing tennis articles and tennis equipment for a long time, and they're starting to do more pickleball and pickleball equipment.
Oh yeah.
And so she kind of filled me in of there really has been a conflict for a long time between pickleball and tennis. I didn't I knew you hear about it,
right?
but I never really thought much of it. But it was like a real thing, and I think it's bigger than I realized to see these tennis legends compete in this event with holding paddles and kind of bridging that gap. And you have Agassi, preaching this piece where he's like, they can coexist.
Yeah, exactly.
You can. It's okay to have a paddle in your tennis bag.
It was crazy. I was just like, doom scrolling TikTok as any teenager does, and a video popped up where it was Andre Agassi playing tennis, and he's like, first backhand I've hit of 2024, and it was posted like a few days ago, and I realized, I'm like, whoa, he played pickleball before tennis in 2024. And like, that's insane.
That's pretty cool.
Like, the divide's finally closing. I mean, you still hear some like horror stories out there
vandalism and stuff. I haven't heard one in a long time.
I remember very like vividly when there was a story that came out about, I think it might have been in Cincinnati or something, but tennis players like just dumping oil on the courts and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's like, it's bad. And then I've seen some stuff where pickleball players will like slash nets, tennis nets and whatever. And it's funny to imagine, because I can't, when I think of a pickleball player, I can't imagine anyone who's not like 60 years old with a four person
yeah, who's
group.
doing this?
I don't know. And it's like, I'm just imagining like 4 60-year-old grannies
just
going out
nets.
there with like razor blades and stuff.
It's Carla, dude.
Oh, it's Carla.
It's Carla.
She's trying to body bag and
she's body bagging and slashing nets.
Yeah, man, that's funny.
I'm gonna call Carla up for an interview.
Yeah,
I had to be her.
Next podcast guest. It's Carla from Spokane.
The Andre, he has an autobiography called The Open, or just Open.
I've heard of that.
And I just started listening to it this week. I was just kind of prompted by the Pickleball Slam, because I knew he was a big deal, but I never really understood the magnitude of his big dealness. And it turns out he is a big deal.
Have you seen when you had hair?
Yeah, his like mullet.
It's
and
amazing.
Spikes.
It's so cool.
Yeah, he worked it.
It's gonna be Tyson McGuffin.
And anyways, it's a really phenomenal story. He talks primarily about his tennis, his growing up, and like the mental battle he had.
Oh yeah. And
he always I'm like 50% of the way through, and he keeps saying that he hates tennis. He never wanted to be a tennis player. It just was pushed on him. He's really good at it. Kept doing it. And it's this of him kind of growing up, being a superstar, battling, dealing with building his team, dealing with all the mental things that come with it. And I remember a conversation you and I had in our first podcast, how relatively easy it is to become a pickleball professional. And I look at his journey. So this was like, late 80s, early, all through the 90s is when he dominated. Kind of late 90s was his
his dad was pushing it on him, I think,
at the beginning. But at the end, like that was all he knew how to do.
Yeah.
And he did find a way to, well, I mean, he's at a good point in the story now, like mentally and getting really improving and stuff. But anyways, he's like the amount of effort that went into him becoming the best player in the world was just incredible.
Crazy.
So when he started playing when he was 7, he has this story of this, like his dad forcing him to hit, I don't remember how many balls, but he had to hit so many balls a day. So he would end up hitting $1 million balls a year.
Yeah.
And he did that for from 7, 8, 9. Which, like I haven't hit $1 million balls my entire life.
Yeah.
And I never will, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, and then he goes to this academy in Florida, and then he starts touring, and like his life, he just ate, drank, and practiced tennis. And even then, the struggle to get to number one was crazy.
Incredible.
And so like I mean, tennis is, I feel like it's this worldwide sport, right? There's only like a couple Americans that really compete. You have like Ben Shelton, this kind of this new guy, and a few others. But is the level, like to become a tennis, the journey is so much harder. So different.
Yeah.
And like, do you think pickleball will ever get to that point?
I genuinely have no idea. Because pickleball, we just haven't had someone like that. Like, we've got Ben Johns, right, who's insanely good. He's been easily the best player in the world.
Untouchable,
for
really.
Years.
Except for the last 2 weeks, which we'll get to.
We'll get to. But, like, even then, you know, I've seen some of his training videos. Like, he's just a very, like, healthy guy. Like, he trains.
I feel like he
works
stepped it up
out.
a little bit physically.
Yeah, and like he'll drill like once a day or every other day and stuff. But even then, he's not there from like 7 to 5 hitting millions of just one shot over and over and over again. And so I have no idea if we'll ever get to that point and what it would look like once we do. All I know is that, you know, the sheer skill level it takes to be as dominant in tennis as like Ben Johns has been in pickleball is nearly impossible.
Right.
And so to hear the mental training that people have to go through to be a good tennis player, and to hear what people have to go through to be a really, really good pickleball player, it doesn't entirely compare. And so I have no idea when that's gonna change.
Yeah.
And
if we'll get there, I mean, it kind of depends on dollars.
If
the viewership has to increase at the pro level. We need, like, when you look at the slams and these tennis tournaments, like the stands are full, right?
Yeah.
Like big stadiums. We haven't quite seen that in pickleball. Although like Nationals not long ago, they had a big stadium and it filled up. So like it's possible. Like you need viewership, you need more attention. Like there just needs to be a little more money.
Yeah, I think that's
and when the money's there.
That was the thing they tried to do in Nationals. That was much more like tennis. Was they would do per round you could win money, rather than podium placement money payout wise, and like that's what they do in tennis. And so I have no idea whether they'll keep trying to do that. I know that in that tournament, pickleball was not, I don't think, big enough to warrant that, because my mom went and played, and she played like 2 matches a day, right? Rather than going through an entire bracket in a day. And so yeah, it is like people put these comparisons to pickleball and tennis, and you know, to an extent, yeah, it's similar, but at the same time, there's so many key differences that like you really have no idea whether or not something's going to happen in the future where
we really don't know, and
merge more.
I just feel like time will tell.
Yeah,
there's been a lot of discussion lately around like the viewership at the pro level. Like, why isn't it there? Like, does it translate? Do people just not enjoy watching? And I don't know. Time will tell. Like, it's just still so early in the sport.
It really is.
I feel like it could get there.
We'll
see.
I feel like that's the whole thing with tennis that's just different, is the viewership. It's been around for like 100 years.
Yeah, it's a very tenured sport.
Like almost anyone can tune in and see these two players just working their asses off trying to win, and they'll see pickleball and it
doesn't look like they're working their asses
right
off.
And like you that's the whole thing. Like you see people like JW who's just out there just
nonchalantly,
he's a robot. And that's the whole thing in tennis, is like you were saying, Andre had to go through so much mental training and stuff that it's like you can almost see the difference in like pressure that these people put on themselves.
Yeah.
Whereas In pickleball, I don't know who cares as much
It's
than
true.
they do in like
That-
if they were playing Wimbledon or
And
whatever.
will it get to that? I don't know, but you're right. Like that was another thing I noted from the book is like his preparation for tournaments, like mentally, he goes through these like exercises and the things he does, and like the pressure he feels in matches, and
Yeah.
a lot of the matches that he recalls and ends up losing were due to some sort of mental breakdown or something happens, and it's and like they only play one match a day. Like the tournament spans are longer, and I don't know, it does seem more physical, and I think people are attracted to that. Like pickleball doesn't seem as physically impressive.
Yeah.
Although I do feel like I have enjoyed watching pickleball as I've gotten better.
Yeah,
the more
for
I can like
sure.
appreciate and watch it.
And that's the whole thing.
And I wonder if that's part of it. Is if you're just new and never seen pickleball,
Yeah.
maybe it's not as fun. But I love watching it.
Like
I know what's going on.
I feel like it's pickleball is for a lot of pickleball pros compared to chess, you know, where it's very, very detail oriented, and it's these small things that you don't realize at first that make the biggest differences.
Yeah.
And so definitely as you improve, I feel like it's more enjoyable to watch because you can see the small nuances that you never noticed.
You know what they're
before.
doing. I agree. I think that's a great point. And I think that's what makes pickleball so fun to play too, is anyone can pick it up, right?
Yes.
But as you get better, I feel like the depth and difficulty and nuance of the game expands.
Yeah, it definitely.
Like the more you learn, the more you realize how difficult the game really is and how much to it there really is.
Yeah. And I think like that's another thing. If like we're comparing tennis training to pickleball training, I feel like there are things that are similar, obviously, but tennis in general is, I feel like, much more just straight, you know, physical training and mental training, whereas pickleball is a lot more like the difference in the way that you get better is very noticeable. Pickleball, you get better through playing lots and lots and lots and lots of matches, whereas tennis, you can improve by watching lots of matches and, you know, practicing just like physical activities outside of it. And I feel like that's a big difference between the two. Is I don't know, it's they're not the same sport.
Yeah.
And I do think that pickleball is easier to get into, easier to become a pro,
sure. Which is why we see the crazy numbers. But no reason they can't coexist.
Absolutely
and enjoy
not.
both of them.
Yeah.
But it is kind of fun to compare them.
For sure.
So let's talk Ben for a second. So we brought this up. So this is the second tournament, PPA tournament that's happened this last weekend. This is the second time Ben has not medaled in a singles, which is typically where he does lose when he does lose.
Yeah.
But that's 2 in a row, which is very uncommon.
Yes.
What do you make of that, dude?
I've been thinking this for a while, and I'm not entirely sure, but I just genuinely do not know if Ben cares anymore. Like, I feel
just
like
cares about winning.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where he runs so much. I know Ben has talked about it before, where like almost like Andre, he's never really wanted to be the best over like for as long as he has been the best. And so I don't know if he really cares about the win anymore because he's done it so much.
So do you think it's less people catching up to him and more a barrier that Ben's putting on himself?
I feel like it. And you know, there's definitely a big increase in the skill level of other singles players for sure. But I don't see Ben, you know, I've seen some of the matches where you can tell that Ben cares. And compared to some of the matches that he's played, it kind of looks like he's just done.
Isn't that funny that you can kind of read his demeanor pretty easy?
Yeah.
Like, you can tell when he's into it or not.
Like,
it seems like it.
He talks all the time about how you want to be as emotionless as possible on the court so that you don't either break yourself or your opponents don't see like you get frustrated at all.
Yeah, he's always been that way.
And for sure, he's always been very robotic, but at the same time, you can definitely tell when he wants to win. Because he cheers, he gets into it, and you can see like
you can
he's
see the
really
effort.
giving his all. And I haven't seen that from him lately. And
Do you think across the board or just singles?
I think like across the board, I still think like it's very difficult to catch up to Ben and Colin. Only a few people can do that just because they both know exactly what's going to happen almost every single time. Whereas singles, it is much more focused on just you. And so, I mean, I don't know. I'm one to talk, right? I'm not Ben Johns, but I do sort of see this pattern of him, just kind of once he gets down and he stays down, like he kind of, it looks like he just hits something and
there's something going on
doesn't
between
care.
the ears.
And as he's gotten more involved with like behind the scenes with the PPA, and
he's got like that new like docuseries.
Yeah, he's got that whole. I could talk about that for a while.
You got jokes about his docuseries.
It's horrible, dude.
I didn't even watch it. I started
so
it.
Bad.
It was like this really cinematic start, and I was like, I have a hard time listening to Ben.
He's
pretty monochromatic.
Yeah, that, and I can't even go into it. When I was in Minnesota, I forgot to even mention this. Like, we went over to Chris's apartment, and Chris is this big time filmmaker, dude.
Right.
Like, before Pickleball, he's produced a Netflix documentary that's one of the more popular ones on Netflix. And like, I'm with his brother, who's also a filmmaker, and Will, who's also a filmmaker, and like Chris's wife, who's seen Chris do this for years, and I think she's also made videos as well. And we're all just watching this documentary on Ben, and it's
just not made well.
It is so. It's they had like it's got to be like they had 6 hours to shoot it. Like, the interviews are literally, it's Ben sitting on his bed. His bed's not made or anything, and it's just weird. I can't. It's just weird.
All right, I'll have to go finish it now. I just watched the beginning. I like the idea of it. Like, I think it's cool that they were doing it.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. Is it's like, I don't know how much does Ben even care about that? Because if he did, it would be way better.
It's not showing through. Him and Colin both, whenever they talk, do interviews, they're hard to hear, listen to a bit. Like, I mean, they just don't, like, there's no emotion, like no inflection in their voice. There's no.
That's the whole thing. Like,
I don't know.
We've seen people like. I mean, I've seen for my entire life people like Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer playing tennis, and Novak Djokovic. I can't even say his last name ever. Djokovic. And like, they're the best players in the freaking world, and the amount of effort they put in is insane. And every single time they win, you can tell how happy they are, and you can tell how much they want it. Whereas like with Ben and Colin, they've had a comparable experience to these guys where they're winning and they are dominant. They've had some insane streaks. But when they win, it's just not, they don't get the enjoyment that I think like the big three have gotten.
That's an interesting take.
And
and I wonder if that will be to their downfall. Maybe, I don't know.
Who knows?
I still feel like there's a big gap between them and the number 2 team. I don't know if there's a team that can beat them this year.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that it's just tough because they have been so dominant for so long.
It is so impressive. Like, I don't care what sport. I mean, like, to maintain that level of dominance is so impressive.
Like, you see Novak Djokovic, he had, I think, over 100 singles games won in a row, which is insanity for tennis. Like, that's so good. And then I think it was Carlos Alcaraz, or maybe Sinner, who took that streak away from him. And Ben had a streak of singles match wins for 171 or something.
Yeah,
and
twice the length.
And no one's done that. Like
No one's coming even close.
The amount of dominance that he's had over the sport for the past 4 or 5 years is
and Anna Lee now.
Yeah, and Anna
She's
Lee
in the same
is
bucket.
unstoppable.
There's no way anyone repeats what those two are doing right now.
No, I don't think so.
Especially as the game continues to increase.
Yeah.
Players get better. It'll never be repeated.
And
that's why I bought that $1,000 Ben Johns paddle.
I mean, eventually that's yeah, it's crazy to say, but eventually that thing is going to be worth a lot of money.
And Anna Lee, when she gets her 100th, I'm gonna buy it too.
Yeah, it's the amount of just control they've had over the sport is ridiculous.
It is so bizarre.
I have no idea how that must feel, because I feel like at that point Ben can just he's done so much that he doesn't need to care. Almost, it's like he's got this legacy that if he stopped right now and he retired,
he's still a legend.
He's still easily the
It doesn't matter what he
greatest of all
does.
time.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And so that's where I'm like,
no, that's actually a great point, because in part of Andre's book, he gets he just where I'm at right now. He just became #1 in the world.
mm-hmm.
He's like, okay, do I retire? He's like, what do I do
Right,
now?
yeah.
And he's thinking through like past legends. And he's like, the people who were immortalized were the ones who won all 4 slams in their career.
Yeah.
And he had won 3 of the 4.
Mm-hmm.
So his new goal is to go win the French Open. But Ben doesn't have what is his goal now?
Yeah. I mean, he's won every tournament that there's been pretty much. I mean,
Yeah,
I can't think of a single.
It's got to be hard to stay motivated. I see where you're coming from here.
And so,
but they keep winning in doubles. He and Anna Lee are unstoppable.
Yeah.
He and Colin are still kicking butt.
I mean, I don't know when.
I don't know when it's going to stop.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is
money the motivation now? Like,
I feel like it's got to be, like, you know, there's. That's the whole
maybe
thing
pickleball, like just
is-
trying to grow the game. Is that the motivation?
I have no idea if he cares about that at all, but just
He
like,
should, because that's how he makes his money.
yeah, and it's if you see him playing in these tournaments, you want to see him care and you want to see him do well and stuff.
Yeah.
And so
especially as a viewer. Like
yeah,
when you go and watch.
like you want to have a
match.
favorite player, and if Ben keeps winning, and he's still boring, like it's got to be this weird balance of like, well, are you gonna maintain this image or what?
Yeah,
And
what happens
so,
next?
Yeah. Who
Yeah,
knows, man?
I don't know. I'd be curious to hear what his goals are. That'd be fascinating.
Yeah. That
All right,
would be.
let's move to paddles for a second.
Yeah, we have
So
a lot.
Yeah,
here.
I was gone for a week. A few came in, and then there's a few others I'm gonna bring up. So I published my review of the Hirachi X this week.
Mhm.
My voice sounds terrible in it. I sound sick, but it didn't get as much love as I thought it was gonna get, as far as just like views and stuff. Because there's been a lot of chatter. A lot of people are interested in what my take was going to be on it, and at least I thought there was. And but it didn't get a lot of love. But I really enjoyed the paddle. One of the reasons I like it is they made a custom mold for it, so it has like it's this unique kind of flared head design.
Yeah,
which I think
the
is really
handle
cool.
looks-
And then they have a 6-inch long handle they pair with it, so it's this custom mold that nobody else is using right now. And when I look at last year, 6-0, part of their success came from a custom hybrid design that they came up with that nobody else was using.
for sure.
And I wonder why more people don't do like custom shapes and designs like this. So I thought it was really cool that they came out and made their own shape. It looks really sharp. It plays well. I think that was part of 6-0 success, was coming out with the custom, shape. Theirs was the hybrid that was flared. This is just the generic elongated that has a little flare to it. But I think it's really cool they did that. And then there's another company. So this isn't out yet, Neonic.
Mm-hmm.
So they came out with like a budget paddle last year that I thought was really solid. It was like $100. And then they sent me this one. This one comes out next month sometime, or maybe this month. I guess we're in February now.
Yeah.
But they did the same thing. So they went and made their own custom shape. So they went with a hybrid, kind of similar to 6-0s, but it almost has like a Maxima kind of head style to it.
Yeah, it looks small. Like
It has a little longer
it
handle.
looks tiny.
And but like I like that they have their own custom shape that they went with.
Yeah.
And I wonder if we're going to start to see more of this.
Oh yeah, that's
and it's
different for sure. I've not seen something like this before.
Like I think it's really cool that they did this, and I hope more brands do it. Like it's hard to differentiate yourself because there's so many paddles that are similar.
Right.
One way to do it is through shapes. It's probably a little more expensive.
Yeah.
I think I heard someone say once it costs $2,000 to go create a mold, and you have to have several molds to have scale.
Yeah.
But if that's what it takes to kind of differentiate yourself, make your paddle play a little bit differently,
yeah,
like, I feel like it'd be worth the investment.
I think it's gotten difficult because I think the very, very start of like the sort of, shift in the paddle shapes was when the original Selkirk Mach 6 came out with the 6-inch handle.
Yeah.
That had the like smaller. People thought it looked extremely tiny when in reality it was like pretty similar.
Small difference, yeah.
And then after that, I don't remember sort of the timeline, but eventually we got to the Hyperion, which just influenced
everything's rounded top now.
And
that's a great example. Like that was
handle.
another custom shape that did really well.
And so ever since then, that Hyperion shape has just like dominated the market.
I mean, look at these two.
And so, yeah, they have very similar stuff. And so it's like to see paddles come out with a unique shape is really interesting and cool. But at the same time, it's like how much of that
what can you really change?
How much of that is going to like help you rather than hurt you? Because also, to an extent, like it's super cool, but the rest of the market also does have this like pretty similar design that it's like
people like it.
These people are doing something different. It's like, oh, do we really want to?
Yeah, I mean, the shape I feel like is something that may not matter quite as much because it's so subtle.
Yeah,
it's not like a huge change
for sure.
But maybe you're right. Like maybe it's unfamiliar.
Yeah,
people just are familiar with the square.
I don't know, man.
Like I seems to prefer the square.
Yeah, for sure.
He had the Hyperion shape, and now he plays with the square shape.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like performance goes, when you shave a little off the top, it does reduce some of the head weight. So it can make the paddle feel a little bit lighter and move some of the weight down, which is a good thing. And then aerodynamics, maybe it makes a little difference, probably not, but there's the aesthetics. But taking weight from the top, if you take off a ton, it might hurt the sweet spot a little bit in some cases because you lose some of that perimeter weighting and stability. So there are some pros and cons to that Hyperion shape, but it certainly looks nice.
Yeah.
But like shapes, if you were to go make your own paddle lineup right now, and like what would be, maybe not so much the head shape, or maybe you can say head shape, but like, I don't know, like maybe pick your 3 favorite shapes you've played. Like, do you draw? Do you prefer elongated? Do you prefer shorter?
I mean, I definitely.
You've been all over the place. I've seen you play with everything.
I've gotten to the stage where it's like I've played with so many different shapes that I feel very comfortable when I switch to a new one. It's like
I'm the same way.
Automatically, this isn't a huge difference.
It takes me a second, but
I would say probably if I could have my own, I would have. I guess we've got like some
like
more
this
examples
one,
over here.
This one's like a hybrid.
I would definitely
like
have
traditional
this
elongated.
like traditional elongated shape. I think I would have.
That's one you like the most.
I would probably have some sort of Hyperion like shape, or probably 6-0. I like that shape. More.
I like that shape too.
And honestly,
do you think the extra reach of elongated paddles is like for most players is worth it, the forgiveness that you give up with it? Because like a shorter paddle feels noticeably more forgiving than a longer paddle, but you do the difference is reach. Like, is reach gonna benefit let's talk about like 4.0 and less. Is the extra reach gonna be more beneficial than a more forgiving wider shape for most people?
I don't think so. I think the real difference is between like handles and being able to hit a two-handed backhand or not. like you said, a shorter paddle usually does have noticeably more control, and so I usually, when they're newer players or just aren't as good, I recommend control all day just to have that sweet spot.
I'm of the same mindset. I do think
And-
that there's more benefits for a shorter paddle, for especially entry level, even.
Yeah,
And then as you get better and you find the center of the paddle more,
for sure. That's the
then
thing.
you can start to realize the benefits of a longer paddle. But even now, like I've been playing with the Mach 2, and it's a shorter, wider paddle, and I've been loving it.
Yeah,
like I don't. I mean, at least for me, like I'm so tall, anyways. I don't feel like I really lose much by going with a shorter paddle, but I definitely feel the benefits of the bigger sweet spot.
Yeah,
and I'm just not as good as I think I am, and so it helps having that extra forgiveness.
right.
And so like I've kind of had this shift of mind towards wider body paddles for more advanced players. I think I'm starting to think there's more benefits of it for an elongated shape. So I'm going to try to convince you one of these days. I'm going to put a standard paddle back in your hands and see.
We'll see.
If I could
We'll see
get you into it.
eventually.
But no, there's definitely a place for elongated shapes. But like if I were to go make 3 shapes from that right now, I would have a hybrid shape. I think hybrid shapes like this that are like 6 1/4, like the 6-0.
Yeah.
They're so similar to a traditionally elongated. I wouldn't have a hybrid and an elongated. I would have a hybrid.
Yeah.
And then I would have like an extra elongated at like 17 inches long. So these, that was kind of popularized recently by Pickleball Apes. Did you ever hit theirs? They have like the carbon fiber Kevlar mix. Anyways, they got one that's 17 inches long, and it spanks, dude. It hits pretty hard, and like it just carries through the ball like unlike anything else. And it's very different from a hybrid, whereas a hybrid's not like crazy different from an elongated. I think hybrids are better than elongated in most cases.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's a reason to have both of those. And then I would make a wide body shape. I would kind of have the 3, like they're all different enough.
For sure.
And but yeah, I think hybrid should replace elongated. I don't. If you're a brand, you either should have one or the other. I don't think there's a reason to have both.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that to an extent. I definitely see like the market is polarizing. Like you don't see a lot of elongated players switching between the two. You don't see a lot of hybrid players switching between the two.
Yeah. The elongated shapes are so like normalized, I feel like, because every pro uses them. So people just default to them when I think there's a lot of benefits to like hybrids and shorter paddles. And I think part of the reason 6-0 did so well last year is because people were like, wow, this hybrid's actually more forgiving than the elongated one I play with. This is nice.
Right.
I like that extra forgiveness.
For sure.
Anyways, so it's fun to see some different shapes.
For sure. I remember, is the least popular paddle ever, the Selkirk Omni.
Oh,
the single 4-inch handle.
I remember that guy. It was horrible.
It was so bad. And it's like
people even look goofy holding it.
It looked ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, the Omni. We'll never see handles like that again.
No.
I don't think we should ever see anything under 5 inches anymore, but you do see it occasionally.
Yeah.
And then I got these guys. I want you to hit one of these. Is there a ball? Is that ball over there?
Let me see here. You keep
go grab a ball.
See if
I want you to hit one because one of these feels so weird. While you're grabbing that, so these made by a company called CoreTek. They're doing something different than everyone else. So instead of having foam injected around the perimeter, they have foam injected in every single cell. So I haven't played with these a ton, but the technology was fascinating to me, and so I was going to try these out this week. No ball?
I have no idea where a ball is. You know what?
I have one in my bag.
Do you have one in your bag?
Grab on the far end. You'll find one in there. But yeah, so this is fascinating. I don't know if we're going to see a lot of this year, if this is going to be something that a lot of brands pick up now that somebody's done it. But I can't remember which one it is, but give it a bounce. One of them feels so strange.
Oh, does it feel like a wooden paddle?
Yeah, it's like aluminum. Yeah. Like you can even hear how, put that next to the mic. Like, what is going on there?
Oh, my word.
Does that feel funky? This one feels normal. I've only hit him against the wall. I'm going to play some games and drill with him for a minute this week.
I hate this logo. I hate it.
It is not pretty.
It makes it look, it's an optical
The face
illusion.
feels kind of weird too.
it looks crooked just because my brain's trying to fix the logo so much.
But anyways, they're doing something kind of cool where they have foam in every single cell instead of just around the perimeter.
Interesting.
I don't know why that one sounds and feels so weird. This one feels more normal.
Yeah.
But that's some new tech I'd never seen before.
That's odd. I have no idea.
But what? It felt like an aluminum paddle from Walmart, that one you hit.
Yeah,
I didn't like it.
It sounds
weird too.
Yeah,
But maybe it'll just be amazing when I play with it.
Who knows? Maybe. But yeah, that was a weird.
Like it's something I've never felt really before.
It felt like a almost semi-normal paddle with just the weirdest sound coming from it ever.
It's like
like
tin.
You wouldn't expect
sound,
that.
Like you're hitting with like a.
It sounds
pan.
like almost a thin wooden paddle.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, that's odd.
And then Engage is coming out with a bunch of new paddles that I got this week. So they have their Extreme series and then their Pursuit Max. So these Pursuit Max paddles, these are like a cheaper version of the Pursuit Pros. So the Pursuit Pros are like $260.
Yeah.
These are going to retail for $200. Plus Engage does they have really good discount codes. So if you use the code 20effect, it's going to drop it down to $180. But these are made with like the same black core. There's a lot of similarities between this and the Pursuit Pros. I guess they use a little different raw texture and material here.
Okay.
So I need to test the spin on them. But
Here, let me see this.
If they play this, same or they might play the exact same as the Pursuit Pros, which are pretty popular. These are like the only paddles that can rip as hard and harder than thermoform paddles.
Yeah, that feels pretty poppy.
Yeah, it's you like hit it.
You can tell. Yeah,
Porter just knows immediately how it plays. No, they are poppy, but you can rip the ball with those. And then they have another line called their Extreme. These are going to be even cheaper than these.
Yeah,
and these are just
16 millimeters.
These are just China
14,
thermoform
right?
paddles.
Okay.
So all these paddles are like made in the U.S. These ones are made in China. This is like the more budget. I don't know. I think they're going to retail for 160-ish.
Okay.
Maybe 180-ish, but then with the discount code. So these will just compete with your typical thermos out there. But it's fun to see them come out with some new stuff. And then this is a new brand. This is called the Shapeshifter. It looks pretty cool. It's got the 3D on there, like the diadem.
Mm-hmm. That looks way better than whatever the heck
gets a lot of spin. I'm surprised we haven't seen more faces mimicking them like this one does. And then this has that same kind of flared hybrid shape, but
I like that flare a lot more. The
it
diadem
just looks sharp.
Yeah,
like when you compare it to these squares, I just feel like the flare, like look good, feel good kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are all the paddles I'm gonna test and look at this week. Get into the database. I haven't updated my database with the power metrics yet, but because I ended up going to Washington this week. But those are some paddles I'm working on. So update on the gun. This was silly. So I showed off the gun last time, and I bought that like a month and a half ago, like not long ago. And I'm talking to Chris, and he talking about the gun, and he's like, "Oh, did you see the new one they came out with?" I'm like, "What new one?"
No shot.
So I go on their website, and sure enough, they have a Pro Stalker Spin 3. I had the 2.
Okay.
So I email him a grumpy. I'm like, "Bro, we emailed, we exchanged, we were friends. You told me about this. Why didn't you tell me there was a new one coming out in like 3 weeks?"
Yeah.
He's like, "I didn't know about it." I'm like, "How do you not know about it? You're like one of like 3 sales dudes there."
That's crazy.
Anyways, they're letting me return it.
Okay, well that's good.
And so I bought the new one.
That's funny.
I was like,
how do you not know? You've got to know.
You had to know. He's BSing me. I was just,
yeah.
I was like, "How do you do that?"
Yeah, that's funny.
Anyways, so looking to update that. Excited about that. And then last thing we have on here to talk about is just some of the DUPR updates.
Yeah.
So going along, Agassi updated or invested in DUPR. DUPR just made a big update. Did your DUPR go up or down with the update?
Let's see here. I think I checked, but I can't.
Oh, don't just act like
No. I don't remember. I genuinely don't remember.
You didn't get the email that said your rating went up. Or
maybe I did. I don't know. I don't ever check my email.
Mine went up by like 0.03 or something.
Yeah, but it looks like it stayed exactly
the same.
I think my singles might have gone up just a little bit, but yeah, no, it's stayed.
What's your singles rating?
Singles is 5.052, so
Yes,
it's like
I think I got
right
you
over.
on singles.
Yeah,
You Porter.
might. Here, let's.
I haven't
I'm gonna look.
I haven't logged a singles match in ages. It's way higher than it should be. It's like, I think it's higher. I think it's 5-1. I think it's
Yeah,
higher
it's
than
a 5-1.
Yeah, I'm not a 5-1.
That's great.
Although last time we played singles,
No,
I think
you got me.
I think I took more games than you did.
Yeah, I'm not a singles player.
We're not gonna.
And
I'm gonna hold on to that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Maybe I am.
So many.
No,
Yeah,
I never
can't play
practice.
singles.
I actually really enjoy playing singles, but I never really
Me
practice.
too.
I'll play a game here and there.
Yeah,
but then I just sign up for tournaments. 'Cause I'm like, I'm there. I'll just sign up. No, I don't know
Yeah.
why it's as high as it is. Like, I'm not that good.
Yeah, who knows?
It's kind of a funny one.
Yeah,
But
I would like to play more singles.
So they made the changes. I'm trying to remember them all. It was like recency matters more.
recency matters.
Points matter.
finally affect again.
Before it was just win loss.
Mhm.
People
Yeah.
didn't like that because that was.
And
Seemed like
then
that was
before it was points, which was the classic.
They're like going back to
DUPR
the
thing.
original.
Yeah, and then
And the win loss thing, I think they made. A lot of people said they made that change like to protect their pros. Like if they lost, then their
for sure.
DUPRs wouldn't.
I mean,
fall
they're
down.
they're already definitely going in there and changing the pros ratings manually.
Do you think
Anyways,
so?
Absolutely.
No
Yeah,
way.
I've seen.
No, you don't. How do you know this?
I won't name names, but I'll name names and bleep them out. Like there's, you can tell compared to other pros, like the amount that it changes the rating comparatively to people that have played like together with her. It's just nothing changes.
People she's playing, their ratings are changing and hers are not.
Yeah, it's like it's weird.
Wait, so you're not for changing her DUPR.
No, I'm saying.
I thought that's what you were saying.
No, of course not. No, I'm saying like, I know specifically like, if you look close enough, you can see, like it stuff shouldn't be happening.
Like what would you speculate that's happening? Like they're emailing the DUPR.
Yeah,
legitimately.
legitimately.
Like, go change my score.
I think so. Yeah.
No, they're not. No,
yeah, I think that's
that
happening.
Does not happen.
That is happening.
I don't believe that.
I would bet $100.
$100?
Yeah. No,
how do we find out?
I don't know. I'll email. I'll be like, hey, can you change my score?
You know who I am.
Yeah, you know me. You know me. I didn't lose to Randy a few weeks ago. But
I actually do like the changes. I think the score thing's good.
I'm glad.
You cannot lose points if you win a match. I feel like you could,
which is good.
A couple of years ago.
Yes, you
which
could
is good.
For sure.
So I think that was good. And then they're saying like recency matters, meaning if you like took a pause, or for a couple things, like if you haven't played a match for like 100 days or something, the matches you play more recently are going to have like a much bigger effect than your old ones. But if you're playing steadily, your most recent matches will have more weight, but not as much as if you took a break.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's cool. And then what were some of the other things? There was the win-loss. There was one other one. But I agreed with all the changes. I thought it was all good.
No, I think that was the thing that made DUPR was the points and the way that they worked compared to, just UTPR ratings, which was win-loss. And, obviously the being able to enter in your own matches is a big part of their brand or whatever. But I think their system was very unique. And I actually liked it compared to a lot of players who you hear complaining about it.
Pickleball Brackets doesn't use DUPR.
They have their own. And now there's
the biggest gripe that people have with DUPR is the Pickleball Bracket scores don't get submitted. And it is super annoying. Like 80% of the tournaments I played last year didn't get submitted to DUPR.
Then
for better or for worse, I don't know, but it does bug me.
Yeah. And now there's also, I just saw this on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. There's UTRP ratings.
Oh, serious? They're doing their own thing now? Or they're starting like a pickleball rating?
Yeah, it's a separate thing because there was UTPR and the USA.
These are tennis people
pickleball.
trying to make a pickleball rating?
I think so. And so it's just, there's too many. There's too many ratings.
No one's going to pass up. Like DUPR's it.
I mean, I agree, but the fact of the matter is, like, there are people just trying to create more stuff.
Yeah, it's a land grab right now, right?
Yeah.
But I do think DUPR is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. People love to complain about DUPR.
People love to complain about everything.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
especially
I do
DUPR.
too. But
I see at least one DUPR Reddit post every few days.
Right.
Of like, how come my score changed and my partners didn't, or
you
whatever?
Just have to email.
Just a bunch of random stuff that comes up, and it's gonna happen, right? But
yeah, you just have to send out an email and be like, change it.
They're so linked in with all the clubs. Like they do DUPR nights here. Yep. I know they do that at a bunch of other places.
Yeah, we have DUPR integrated now completely.
And I think it's a cool way to keep the level playing field. Like we talked about last time, how level play at indoors is one of the powers of indoor places.
Yeah,
because you can say this is a 3-0 open play, this is 4 open play, and everyone's DUPRs are verified, and that's how you determine.
Yeah.
And so the only way to get DUPRs is the log scores, and so they do the DUPR nights, and it feels more legit. It's kind of fun. Like Abe and I did a DUPR night thing a little bit ago, and just to keep it fresh, and we just came in and added a little extra pressure to the games, which was fun.
People definitely they care more, which
so
is fun.
It's like the DUPR nights are cool. Like it feels a little more pressure. You feel a little something's on the line.
Yeah.
Only that and money does that. That and money in tournaments. But yeah, they're doing a little money ball thing on the Super Bowl. Did you sign up for that? Here?
I heard about it. It's like the individual 4-5 plus thing.
Yeah.
I was debating on whether or not I want to sign up for it.
Sign up for it.
Do it. All right.
Be on my court.
I'll do it.
I need to go.
Okay. I'll do it. I mean, I know
this
night's gonna be. It's gonna be busy.
I love giving you my money, Porter.
I know you do. Yeah, it's good. I mean, you're paying me millions to be on here, so
no, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, little stuff like that. I think is kind of the power of indoor. Part of the power of indoor places and reservations. I think is huge. Like I love being able to reserve courts. We were talking about how Hobble's so busy in the summer.
Yes. Yeah.
And I wonder how well this place will do during the summer. And I think it'll do decent, partly just because there's not enough courts and you can reserve. And reserving courts goes a long ways.
For sure.
But anyways, DUPR's here to stay. I think it's cool. I like what they're doing. Overall, I think, I don't really have any gripes against them, even though I see people just hating on them all the time.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the thing. People hate on everything in pickleball.
We'll see if our DUPRs go up after this. Then we'll know if it's rigged.
Who knows? Yeah, I mean,
DUPR goes up based off how much you talk about DUPR.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
logs. Like our phones are listening.
Yeah, that could be the case. Honestly, I mean, that's kind of more what I was trying to say is the DUPR sponsored players. Their ratings are significantly higher than the other players. That's what I meant to say. Is like the people who have affiliations. Like,
oh, that's funny. Where does DUPR go up after this?
Yeah, exactly. Like they're like, oh crap, people are talking about it. We need
they found us out. Sorry, we're
right.
6-0 now.
Yeah, but no, it for sure. Who knows, dude? I agree. I think DUPR's gonna stay around. It's definitely, I think, the easiest to use yourself.
It's pretty slick.
And like,
I like the direction they're going. I think the updates were good.
Yeah,
it'll just keep them better. And the more people log, the better the ratings get. And
for sure,
people complain about the ratings. It's because they only have like 10 in there. It just takes time.
Yeah, I mean, eventually,
gotta go play in more events.
In
a
few months, both of our singles ratings are gonna drop down to like 3-0 because we never play.
Probably.
So, who cares though?
The
singles.
We should play singles. We should play together more often.
Yeah,
I think
I agree. We should
go be awesome at it.
I'm trying to get at least like I really want to per week at least get one dedicated drill session in there because like I've been slacking on my play. I've been doing so much school that it's like that's just the thing I do. And so I want to get.
When's your next tournament? You're doing
stuff.
Sacramento?
Sacramento.
When's that? That's APP. Yeah?
March, either March or April.
Okay, so you got a month. Or
so I've got a bit.
Are you doing singles?
No. Well, wait. Am I? I think I am.
Let's sign you up for singles, dude.
Yeah. So
I will be your singles trainer.
Yeah. Sweet. I would love that. So yeah, once a week we'll do that.
I've watched a handful of Ben John's singles training videos.
I'm
basically
Ben John.
Basically Ben John's training. Like in the head, I'm Ben.
Yeah. I mean, just no emotion whatsoever.
He's got his little, forehand flick to the side that he and Federico live off of. You just got to learn that.
Yeah. Did you see that point with
shot he does?
Fed versus who was it?
In the finals, it was Vic.
Oh my! Did you see the point where Fed did like
it.
the tweener and stuff? Oh my! It was
pretty epic.
That was one of the best.
I think I saw some other point from that match go viral or fed. It was like
Yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah, there was.
I think memes of Pickleball made fun that like he ran across the court like 6
Yep,
times or something. Was it
yeah.
that point or a different one?
No, I think it was a different one. That reminds me of, you've seen the Christian Alshon point, right? Where he just goes back and forth like 8 times.
Yeah.
It's pickleball is so ridiculous sometimes. But yeah.
Singles, in my opinion, is more fun to watch when you have 2 high-level players.
Yeah.
Like the early rounds of singles isn't very entertaining, but when you get like Fed
Mhm.
versus Ben or Fed versus Vic,
Yeah.
I think it is super
I
entertaining.
think recently, like it's changed. Women's doubles has always been the most entertaining for me, I think.
Dude, they just rip it. Like I swear they get
They
to the
just
net
hit the ball
and then they
hard.
just speed it up after the first time the ball bounces.
Yeah, I
and then they
mean-
just go at it.
Yeah, what was her name? Carol or whatever?
Carol,
Carol.
she did it.
the next number 1 player in the world right there.
Carol.
And so yeah, it's been women's doubles for a while for that reason, but also I think recently it's been men's singles is
Yeah.
super entertaining to
It's
watch.
very irritating.
So yeah.
Well, there we
But-
go. I think that wraps
Yeah,
us
I think
up.
that's it.
Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, we'll see you
See you
guys.
later.
Bye bye.